Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day. You are on the Let's Talk About It podcast. My name is Kenneth Ray Coleman Jr. Don't forget the Junior. And we have two special guests on the line today. My friends, my folks, two people that have been married for 13 years in April. They've been together for 16 years, have two beautiful daughters, Kayla and Karina, excuse me, Karina. In 2020, they obtained a business license for a nonprofit organization called Partners with a Vision. The nonprofit will provide and support resources for married couples and families. Their primary focus is vision. We work side by side with couples and families. They have led several marriage groups, one-on-one sessions, group sessions, date night, just two all-around amazing people. Some call him Eminem. I call him MJ, the GOAT. Marcus and Marquita Johnson, how y'all doing?
Oh man, blessed. Yes. How you doing?
We're great. We're glad to be here.
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome. I appreciate y'all helping us out. Today's topic is going to be marriage. We're talking about the ins and outs of marriage. We're going to start from the beginning all the way into that marriage date. And I appreciate y'all joining me. You know, we've been knowing each other for a very long time, back when I had hair all around, all around.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
Okay. That's cool. All right, that's the Inside Joke podcast, but you know, I appreciate y'all being here. But the first question that we're gonna go into is that how did y'all start? I mean, how did y'all meet? How did y'all start dating?
Well, we met in graduate school. We were both at Strayer University. I was, working at a bank, and she was doing her thing at the.
I had numerous jobs. I think I was working at a baker at that time.
But it just so happened to be in the same class one time, and me coming, like I said, working at the bank, I used to kind of dress a little spiffy, have my shirt tie, nice slacks or whatever. Came to school one day, not paying attention to anything, sitting down, minding my business. And here she is. She notices me. She noticed me because she looked at me and she said, "Well, hello, Marcus. Would you?"
I said, "Hello, Marcus. You look nice today."
And I responded by saying, "Well, you got to coordinate." She gave me the look as if, first of all, when I said it, I knew that she didn't know what I was talking about.
I did not.
She did not think she didn't know what, you got to coordinate.
So from that moment, we joked around in class. We became very close friends.
Most definitely.
Actually, this is hilarious, but how we really got close, Marcus asked me for a piece of gum one night, and I think back and I was like, what was I thinking? And he was like, "Can I have a piece of gum?" I was like, "Sure, you can give me a ride to the house."
It was the best trade I ever made.
And we have been friends ever since. So that's been almost 16 years now. It all started with you look nice in a suit, to being friends, to a piece of gum, a ride to my home, and now 16 years later, we are still.
That's awesome. We're gonna pick that back up real quick, but y'all said something that transitioned me into another place.
Okay.
Do you think it's important to establish a friendship before entering a relationship?
Most definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's where you establish all the rough edges, or you figure out, you start to break the seal on a relationship. It starts with friendship. You can't, me personally, I'm not a love at first sight type of person. You have to be able to build up to that. And so that's exactly what we did. I mean, yes, you have your puppy dog love, you have your your honeymoon phase, things like that. But it's a progression. It's a progression.
Yeah.
So.
And I totally agree about being friends first. I think a lot of times we're most vulnerable with our friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like your mask tends to come off with the people that you feel like you can trust.
Right.
And so if you really start off in a relationship where you kind of have that bond of just that friendship, because Marcus and I, we went through a lot of just different seasons because we were getting older. And I think us being friends just kind of made that season easier. So when we did transition into a relationship, into a marriage, it was a lot smoother for us because we had already shared things that we probably wouldn't have shared prior to being friends if we had got in a relationship before then.
Right.
I like
we
that.
basically kind of learned how to have fun together. So
yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting that y'all say that, because I'm a big proponent of friendship before a relationship, but it seems like, I don't know if people are jaded these days, but it seems like people think you run a game on them, especially from a man's point of view. When you say, hey, I want to establish a friendship and then see if something can come of that. They're like, oh, you got commitment issues, or, you want to play the field and all that. I'm like, no, I'm trying to lay the foundation to see if we are compatible to go to something else. Like,
right.
So how long did you guys date? Or how long did y'all have a friendship before y'all entered a relationship?
We were talking about this the other day. She knows the number.
It was actually, we started being friends June of 2006, and we started dating August 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it wasn't something that took a very long time.
Right.
Because I think it depends on where people are in their lives, their season. I was going through a lot. So it wasn't like, oh, we just got out of college, everything is smooth. There was a lot of things going on that really it was a low valley for me. And Marcus was very supportive during that time. It was to the point where we were seeing each other. If not seeing each other, I think we spoke to each other daily. Like how people don't use the phone anymore. We fell asleep on the phone with each other talking. So, and I mean, it was hours. And during that time, it was just learning each other. So even though it was such a short period of time of being friends, now, even though we started dating, we still continue to be friends. I just feel like we learned so much in that short time because that's all we talked to, like probably for those 2-3 months. All we saw was each other. Like it was like every day.
And what's funny, when I think back on it, we never really put a label on anything that we were doing. We didn't put a label on, oh, we're dating, or, oh, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend, anything like that. It was just a natural progression. It's like, like she said, we're seeing each other every single day. So it almost just like became the norm. And in that, every day brought out something new. And so it was very intriguing. It's like, okay, whoa, I wonder what else I can learn, and so we're constantly taking day by day and seeing how much she stood by me in my times when I was going through things, fresh out of school. I'm naive, I'm immature, but yet she was way more mature than me, but she was going through things of her own. And she's showing me a different side of life, as well as me showing her a different side of life. So it just meshed well. It just meshed well. So kind of the opposites attract.
What made y'all want to commit to each other? Ooh, like when you went from, you said August, or you said June to August?
Yeah.
So from that time, what made you say like, I think it's time for the next step or whatever we're doing?
Marcus was something new for me. I know that it's funny, but my dad used to joke. He used to say, my daughter changed purses. She changed guys like she changed purses, because I didn't tolerate a lot. But it was just something refreshing about him. Like I felt like I could just be me. And for the first time he was a person that I knew I did not want to lose. Like he was just that type of guy that was just like I used to be like, dang, like, dude, you too good. Like something wrong with him. But it's just like, it was something just different. Like, I just felt like, man, you know, like I can really kick with this guy and I'm not bored around him, or, you know, like I wanted to be better because of him, because like, I thank God now that I've been with him. I'm like, he was just day and night for me. Like he always say, don't major in the minor. He taught me not to major in minor things and to enjoy life. And I think that was the thing that pushed me to, I want to be with this guy.
Yeah, you blessed my soul when you said he was just something that you just didn't want to be without. Like, I think you answered a question that I had in my head. So I'm gonna thank you later. I text you about it. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, Marcus.
No. I mean, I'm echoing everything she said. She over here making me warm. This is nice. I like this. Let's keep the conversation going.
So this is a question for Marcus. Well, no. How long were you in a relationship before you popped the question to Marquita?
She knows the exact date. I do. I always think, all I remember is it was a sunny day. I do remember that. She said it was, what day was it you said?
Oh God. He proposed in November of 2007. So it was about 15 months. We had dated and he proposed in 15 months.
And I've told this story. I mean, I might have told you before, but you know, you know how they say you know when you're ready. I got my affirmation laying in bed. And it's funny because that very same night we were laying in bed and we had an argument. Honestly, we just had an argument. I'm not 100% sure what the argument was about, but I know it had something to do with commitment. So I'm laying in bed, lights off, and you know how you just kind of got your eyes closed, you're getting ready to go to sleep, but you're not asleep. Right. I'm sitting there, and it's like as clear as day. It's almost like somebody was reaching over and whispering or talking in my ear as it was dark out, dark in the room, and it said, "It's time." And I mean, it was so loud to me that I opened my eyes. I'm like, I had to look around and say, "Is somebody, who is this?" But in my heart of hearts, I know it was the Holy Spirit telling me it's time. And I knew exactly what he was talking about, that it was time to make that next step and go ahead and make my plans to make her my wife.
So when you asked her, did you know she would say yes, or did you was unsure?
Oh, yeah. Oh no. It was 1,000% confident that she was gonna say yes. 1,000. Matter of fact, 1,001.9. No, I mean, honestly, I was very confident in how I felt about her, and I was confident that she felt the same for me. Not only from the numerous conversations that we had, but just I knew she enjoyed me just as much as I enjoyed her. And so I wanted to make the engagement, the way I popped the question, something that she would never forget. So, when I put it on like that, she had no reason to say no. No reason, kid.
So other than that, the way he proposed, what made you say yes, Marquita?
What made me say yes? First of all, I remember what the argument was about.
Okay, boo, let's go.
The argument was, I'm not finna be entertaining you. I know how much I feel about you. I've never felt this way about a guy before. We are not finna play games. You got to the end of the year. I'm not going to the new year playing games. That was the argument. So
y'all go to YouTube so y'all can check the visuals out of the facial expressions. Y'all check it out.
So I knew I was gonna say yes, because the argument was about You better quit playing games.
I want nobody playing games.
I'm not finna play games, but no, I'm serious. I never have felt so strongly about a person that I knew how much I had put into us being together, that if he thought, oh, I'm finna just get up and leave, like, let me be. I would rather for you leave me now and not waste my time and draw something away from me and I become hard, than let me continue to stay in something and you know that I'm not the one.
Right.
Let me be free. So when he proposed, I was prepared.
Okay, well,
and I didn't even care about the marriage. I was like, we ain't got to get married next week. We ain't got to get married tomorrow. Like, I just need to make sure that where I want us to go in this relationship, we're on the same path. And that's what the engagement came in at.
Yeah. So did the engagement, did it solidify the commitment that he had towards you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt like once he did it, because we didn't get married until 18 months later.
Yeah.
So he proposed in 2007. We didn't get married until 2009. So I just wanted to, again, make sure, like, hey, are we really serious about this? Like, are you just playing games with my feelings? Because again, I'm not I already had been in some broken things, and I was like, I can't be broken. I don't want to build up walls with you because I care too much about you, but I'm going to let you know up front, here are my boundaries. And my boundaries are, I'm not finna play with you. And he, you know, again, I didn't force him to marry me. I didn't force him to give me a ring, but I think it's good to have healthy boundaries.
Yes, Lord. Boundaries and expectations. That's healthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Healthy, needed, and necessary.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, as she says that, you know, that was that match that lit the fire, to say the least, you know. And so having that confirmation from the Holy Spirit, and us having that assurance, me giving her that assurance that, hey, I'm in this if you're in this. Yeah. Once that ring was on, I mean, we were building from there.
Been building ever since.
Been building, still building.
Still building.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I often hear, you know, people say, you know, two whole people can come together and become one. Before y'all got married, do y'all both think that y'all were whole when y'all got married?
Absolutely not.
Not close. Not close.
To be honest, I don't ever think a person is really fully whole coming into a relationship, because a lot of times, me looking at marriage and researching and studying marriage the way that I look at it now, we're part of your rib. You have something missing. So even when you think that I'm fully whole, if that individual is for you and God intended them to be for you, that missing piece is in that individual. Yes. So there are going to be some things that they're going to bring out of you that you may not have known if they weren't in your life. Like, there are things now that I realize I majored in minor things. My husband has helped me realize that. Anybody else on the outside, they would think, oh God, Marquita is great. But he's allowed me to see things that I would have never known, because those are things that were on my radar.
Right.
Girl, what's that cash app? You preaching, man. Preaching, man. Ain't it, man?
Preaching, ain't you? Preaching. Yeah.
I like
but
that.
No,
yeah, but I mean, even in that same vein, as she says, you know, I used to tell her all the time, like she says, not to major in the minors. She taught me the opposite. You know, I would always just kind of overlook everything and just look at the big picture, but I would never pay attention to the minute details, the small details that make it, you know, worth the while. You know, it's like, this is why we're doing this. This is why this has to happen this way. And so when she really slowed my life down to really look at it, or not my life, my perception of life down, to really start paying attention to the details and the small things, that's when we really started to click and started to mesh well. That's why, you know, like they say, opposites attract. I think that's that opposite side of the spectrum. It made that one, our perception of how we see life, how we see marriage whole. Yeah. So, but we did not have that when we first got married. Absolutely not at all. Not even close.
I think, you know, good, healthy relationships and marriages are able to complement each other. And that's exactly what y'all talking about. Y'all complement each other. And I've seen y'all interact, so y'all do it well. So, looking back now from a now perspective, based on the expectations that y'all may have had for each other or, outside influences, do y'all think that y'all were ready for marriage when y'all got married?
Absolutely not.
No. No.
The reason why I don't think that I can say I don't feel like I was prepared for marriage, I brought a lot of baggage, emotional baggage, that I feel like if you were to take the time to prepare yourself for you, not for the person that you're trying to marry, not for your friends or family, but just getting to the root of who you are. I think that would have kind of benefited my marriage a lot better at the beginning because again, it was so I wouldn't necessarily like it was just this rocky thing for us, but we went through some really rough season. And a lot of time it was just because we didn't know who we were.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree fully. And, just from my side of things, I was extremely immature. Just to be transparent, Marquita was my very first girlfriend. I had my fun. I did what I needed to do when I was single, but when I actually had an actual girlfriend, Marquita was the first. I had to learn how to be in a relationship. I didn't know. I had no sense of sharing. I had no sense of, you know what I mean?
Asking someone else if they're hungry.
This is true story. I'm heading over her house. I'm hungry. I stop and get something to eat and go over there to her house with the food. And she like, you ain't think to call me? No, I knew I was hungry. So it's like I said, the minor details, that stuff never even clicked to me. So I had a very vague perception of what a relationship entailed, not even to think about an actual marriage, so to have that, to grow into what I am now, it's come leaps and bounds. So
yeah. That's awesome. Can y'all give me 3 ingredients you think people need or you have that laid the foundation for a healthy and successful marriage?
First is God.
God, number one.
Always.
Yes.
Never can do it without him.
Exactly.
Second, I guess it could be up there too, but I think our second one will be vision. We've always been visionaries, like having a vision of what do we want our marriage to look like? Mm-hmm. What do we want out of our husband? What do we want out of our wife? Even what do we want to be as parents now? Mm-hmm. So we've always been big on visions because how do you know what you want if you don't ever have a vision for it? You're just going through life expecting your marriage to be great. No, exactly. We had a plan to have a great marriage. And now we're like, okay, God, we want an even better marriage. And what that vision looks like. Exactly. So I think those two. What's the third one you want to tag?
Well, the third one is I would say friendship. Like you asked before, becoming friends before you get married, becoming friends while you're married is key. My wife said before, you're most vulnerable with your friends. You're able to break those walls down and be vulnerable and be transparent with them. And if you're guarded, that's a recipe for disaster, honestly, because when you do have God first, when you have a vision as to you're on the same page, we know exactly where we're going in our marriage, and we actually like each other through friendship. What I mean? That's to me, if you have those 3 ingredients, you can build anything you want. You can build the type of life that you would like, and God will bless it especially if you put him first, he's going to bless it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like all 3 of those, and I'm taking notes. So, I need to study and go back. But y'all said God, vision, and friendship. And I think the vision is very important because also when you have vision, that means you're communicating with your mate about your vision.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
People, we're not good with communicating certain things, and I think the vision is up there, and then the friendship. Like friendship goes on so many levels because that's trust, that's vulnerability, And I'm a big proponent of find you somebody, and this is a friendship wise, but find you somebody that you can be open, honest, and vulnerable with.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
And once you have that key ingredient, like it's difficult to allow anybody into that space to cause separation.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I like those: God, vision, and friendship. So before y'all entered the marriage stage, how did y'all define marriage? What did it look like for y'all?
Oh,
well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Marriage to me, so I have seen marriage good and bad. So when I first looked at marriage, to be quite honest, I was naive to it. You see what's on the news. I mean, on TV at that time, it was the Cosby Show. Okay, here's a marriage here, but then you got the marriage that you see with your aunties and your cousins, and you're like, this is what marriage looks like. So I really didn't have like a true foundation of what marriage was until I really got in it. For me, because it wasn't consistent when I was growing up. I didn't really see a consistency of this is what marriage is supposed to look like.
Yeah. I mean, the exact same thing on my end. I was, like I just said, I'd never had a real relationship before. So let alone looking at marriage, it didn't really, I had no concept of what it actually meant. Yes, I had my parents to look to, but I didn't look at them as a married couple. They were mom and dad, so that didn't really pierce the skin as far as, okay, that's what a marriage is supposed to look like. And then, like my wife said, the Cosby Show, I saw them and I see so many comparisons from the Huxtables and my parents. I mean, even their mannerisms and things like that, the things that they do, that's kind of how I had, that's the perception I had of what you would call a marriage now. And when we actually got married and we're in this and we're starting to go through hard times and have arguments and disagreements and things like that, I'm like, my parents didn't argue like this. Bill and Claire didn't argue like this. What is this? So it's naive. No perception whatsoever.
I think you said something that triggered something in me, because you said that I had my parents, but I didn't look at them as husband and wife. I looked at them as mom and dad. And I was like, dang, that makes a lot of sense, because even my preconceived notion about marriage is I saw what my parents did, but I never knew the why they did it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I knew that they made it through hard times, but I'm like, all right, this hard time right here, why you kept going, or why you didn't go off, or why you reacted in such a manner. I didn't know the why. And I think, sometimes, especially in relationships, when you're trying to come to a resolution, you need to know the why, so it doesn't keep happening. Like sometimes the stuff is a repeated cycle because we keep hitting the trigger, we keep hitting the scar, and we don't know the why. Like, why are you reacting that way?
Yeah.
I think that's important. So both of y'all said y'all were, kind of naive going into the marriage aspect. So I'm sure by now you have some changes that came with that. So how do you view, what's the difference in how y'all view marriage now?
You want to go first?
No,
13 years in the game.
Baby, you got it. I'm feeding off of you.
See, this is what we got. I think the way that my perception has changed now, I was actually sharing with Marcus. I go back to how Christ wants us to love. And my perception of the marriage changed because in the Bible, he uses marriage a lot, like the bridegroom. And husband loves your wife as Christ loves the church. So it kind of put my mindset of marriage different the closer I got with him. Because I realized this is not something that's just for Marcus and I, but this is greater than I. And there's a love there that he ordained. What is this type of love that he wants us to have so bad that it prevents so many people to not get and not understand? Because it takes time of studying and sacrifices and wanting, like it really is a sacrifice. And so my perception of, I guess, marriage now is, well, God, how much do you love us? And why did you give me this person to love? So I think that's where my perception of marriage is now on is, okay, God, what is it? Like even now when something ain't going on, I'm like, all right, don't worry about it, I'm gonna go to daddy. This husband you gave me. So I guess that will be that's how it has changed for me now. The closer I've gotten to him, he's now giving me a better understanding of why he put us, the why behind it.
Yeah. And I think with me, I'm still learning. I'm never gonna say I know exactly what marriage is. I'm still learning. But in those, the years that I've and the research that I've done, what I have learned and what has stuck with me is that, when you think back to the very beginning in Genesis, when God made man and he made woman and he put them together, that was one of God's first creations. He created marriage, so he holds that dear to him. And so this union that we have, we can't take it for granted. It's more than a gift. It's more than a gift. And so, those vows that we said at our wedding, we hold dear to, we hold those true. And when you say those things in front of God, he's holding you to it.
Yeah.
It's not okay, we're going through a hard time, we're gonna call it quits. No, you're gonna work it out. You're gonna sit there, you're gonna learn from it. You're gonna take these scars, I'm gonna heal them, but you have to lean on me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that put you two together. So like she said, she goes to daddy, I go to daddy. Just like she's snitching on me, I'm snitching on her.
You gotta snitch. That's the key.
But just to bring that back around, that's what's changed. I think our perception of why we're together.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence that we were in the same class. It's not a coincidence that we fell in love with each other. It's part of the plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I'm gonna set this question up because I want to make sure that we understand it. I've heard in order to make a relationship and marriage work, you have to be willing to let go of something that you have been seen or taught. So earlier we were talking about, like preconceived notions that we have going into marriage. Sometimes you have to let something go in order for y'all to have a healthy marriage for y'all. So did y'all have to go through that transition?
Oh yeah.
I would say he had to go through it more than me because
Facts.
I'm usually like, I don't care what nobody else is doing. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But we had to go through that because again, you got to think you're taking two individuals that who were just kids.
Yeah.
That only had their parents. So you're coming into something where you're like, wait, we're now the adults. To make decisions for ourselves. And then it depends on, so Marcus and I, we were still in grad school, so we were in our early 20s. So we were still staying with our parents when we met. So, we still got rules and things. And then you got these two individuals that leave a home where there was still rules and guidance. And now you got this house and you're like, what are we about to do over here? But no, I think establishing things on your own, though, is very important. Like just example for us, holidays. Our family knows I'm big on, I'm not taking my kids all over the place. Y'all are more welcome to come over here. And we have stood firm on those things. And we're very grateful that we have parents that understand we are grown. Our parents want us to be grown. I think a lot of times where it becomes an issue is when you still kind of have those parents or family members that's pulling you still to be that individual. Right, you're no longer an individual. You're now two.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that your household is taken care of. And like they know, I tell them, I ain't going nowhere. You can go. And they're used to it now. They're just like, okay, then that's Marquita.
Yeah. I mean, just to kind of pigeonhole or copy what my baby was saying. It's when we got married, we made our own traditions.
Yeah.
Even from when we first met, my wife, she grew up Kojic, and I was going to another church, a church that my parents, started going to. She left her church to start attending church with me. And then once we got established and established ourselves as a couple, building a relationship, we transitioned to our own, we found a church together as our own. We left. That's basically what the Bible says. When a man and woman get married, they should leave their parents. So it was that transition from leaving them to build our own. Yeah. And then, to go even further than that, once we did that, we had to start establishing our own traditions as a family.
Yeah.
Traditions have to start somewhere. Yeah. And so when we looked at each other and we were like, okay, my wife was like, okay, we got to do something different. We can't keep going to this place and going to that place on the holidays or blah, blah, blah. It made more sense because it's like, well, my family did this, your family did that. Let's just come together and make our own. Right. What are we going to do? Are we going to continue to keep doing what, she does in the past or what I did in the past? Because, when we got married, I was 27, you were 26.
We were younger than that.
I think younger than that. So that's 20 some odd years of living, that we had to mesh together. Yeah. All that learning, all the stuff that I learned or didn't learn, all the stuff that she learned or didn't learn, all those core values and things like that, trying to mesh those together. We had to weed some of that stuff out to fit into our pot that we call our marriage, our relationship.
So, with y'all fighting, not fighting, I don't mean fighting each other, but fighting individual struggle of letting that stuff go. Like, how did y'all handle that transition? Because sometimes when we're internally battling something, sometimes it trickles into the relationship. So how did y'all go through?
I don't think for us, I can only speak for us. We didn't really go through that because I wasn't as close to my family as I wanted to be anyway. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't an issue. And his family is just so laid back. I guess it's just how our upbringing, like it was nothing major. You know how some people are like, they see their parents every day. They are like at everything. That was never for us. So for us transitioning, it was never a battle. Like even now, like our family be like, all right, we're going to spend one holiday together. Everybody else like, we spend the 4th of July, Mother's Day. And we're like, y'all spend all them holidays with y'all folks? And we're like, we get one on the calendar for the year. And we like, we're good. Yeah. and the family loves it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why it was a little still easier over here for us.
I got it. So marriage is not always, marriages go through highs and lows. So can y'all give the audience some advice on how to handle the low moments? Breathe.
The roller coaster that is marriage.
Yeah. I think one of the things that has really, really helped us is to fight with your mate's love language. I cannot say that enough.
Can you say that again?
Fight with your mate's love language.
Yes.
It typically keeps it becoming this big blow up and defensive. So I know now my husband is a physical touch type person. So when I can come home, he can come home and I'm like, oh, I really want to lay in there. Nope, I'm gonna wait. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna turn on the TV. We're gonna get This Is Us on. He gonna feel real good. We're gonna catch up on all our shows. And then as he lay there and he done got comfortable, I'm gonna go, babe, I'm gonna lay on his chest and be like, it's just been a lot of things going on. And it's the way I present it to him. Now I remind you though, I didn't know this. Back in 2009.
You got to ease that thing on in there
But
for me.
I know now, learning what usually being in a relationship, the way they express themselves to you is usually the way that they want it back. So my husband is very soft-spoken, as you know, Ken. He doesn't really like a lot of conflict. He does not like to disrupt his day. So if I come at him blazing, he's automatically is gonna shut down and he's not gonna hear anything that I gotta say. If I come to him in a tone that's usually his tone, and in his love language, which again is physical touch
and words of affirmation.
And words of affirmation. So let me
Ken, I know my love.
Words of affirmation. But what is mine?
Acts of service.
Fight with love languages.
Yeah. So that means I gotta wash the dishes. I gotta sweep the floor to try to avoid this conflict.
And he usually does. When he's in trouble, Ken, it don't matter if it's 1 a.m. in the morning. My husband will go in there and wash the dishes.
But you know,
and he gonna be like, all right, I know how to get home. I'm gonna wash these dishes. I'm gonna mop this floor.
Wash the hell out of these dishes.
Exactly. They gonna be spotless.
This
everything
got nothing on me.
But also, you know, with those lows as well, we would definitely say, you know, fight fair.
Yeah.
You know, don't try to do the low blows, say things that are just disrespectful or to try to get your mate mad. That just makes it worse. Don't throw gasoline on the fire. And one thing that I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit opposed to, but my wife really talked me into is couples therapy.
Absolutely.
It is vital, I think, to any marriage, to be able to give somebody somebody that has an unbiased opinion. You tell them how you were feeling, and she tells you, or you know, we're telling them how we're feeling or what's going on, and to have them dissect it and tell you right back, hey, Marcus, you were wrong. You know, I hear what you're saying, but you're wrong. To hear that from somebody else, it angers you, but it also humbles you, and it makes you see things from another point of view, or that point of view that, you know, your spouse is trying to get you to see when tempers are flaring and you're shut down mentally. You're trying to make your point and get your point across. I would say therapy is definitely, it definitely helps you to get those feelings out and to get those and to change that perception.
Yeah.
When we were going, it brought about a key thing for us, which is active listening, which is a great tool to use when you're going through those things. You have to physically listen to what your mate or your spouse is putting to you. You know, acknowledge their feelings, you know, really try to dive into why it is that they feel the way that they feel. Yeah. And I know a lot of it kind of seems like, you know, stereotypical kind of things like, oh, well, you just want me to lean in. And no, if my wife is saying that she feels a certain type of way, instead of me glossing over it and just saying, oh, well, this is how I feel. Granted, I still do that. I'm not perfect. I still do that. However, when I did, but when I humble myself and I'm actively listening to what she's saying, and I take the time to actually say, okay, I hear what you're saying. So let me know if I'm right. You feel you're saying this, and it's actually just reaffirming what it is that she's feeling. Yeah. It takes her guard down as well as my own, and we're actually able to have a conversation and come to a solution.
Yeah.
So active listening therapy is definitely key, and fighting fair and fighting using your spouse's love language.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all real deal teaching. I'm gonna give y'all a tip because I appreciate it. But I think also, you know, during the low moments, a lot of times it causes separation because a lot of couples in marriages, they forget that they're in a team sport.
Yes.
And during those low moments, they become individuals. And but if you learn to fight with your mate's love language, fight fair, then you can be actively listening because they're bringing it to you in a way that you're able to receive it.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I like that. We're gonna transition because I want to be considerate of y'all time. I thank y'all again for, you know, blessing the podcast.
We ain't got nothing to do.
So the married with children aspect, we are going to that a little bit. So how did the marriage, or did the marriage change when children entered the picture?
That's a real question?
Yeah.
Most definitely. Yes. Next question. No, I'm saying, yes, it definitely changed. You want to take this one?
No, I'm gonna let you go first. Because I keep going first.
Yeah. No, it definitely changed for me, especially in the portion where I'm, you know, like I said in before, I was still learning how to be in a a two-person relationship. So now I have this other person that I have to share my time with. It was a difficult transition at first. True blessing, made me very happy, but it was still a transition, trying to figure out, okay, how do I spread my time around while also, you know, it's like, how do I make my kids and take care of my kids while also making my wife still feel like a wife? You know what I mean? Because that's one thing that I honestly went away from. I went away from it. Once we had kids, it's almost like the husband and wife aspect of it kind of went away, and we turned into parents.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that you definitely need to keep at the forefront. When they say you got to have date nights and things like that, that's key. And that's something that I struggle with. I'm not going to lie, but we have gotten better. And that change, just trying to spread that time out and spread the wealth of me being me around to my kids that love me and my wife that loves me, was the challenge for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to take it, or you want?
I was gonna say I agree with him. I think the biggest thing for wives is we typically take on multiple roles anyway, and taking on a role as a wife and then as a mother, our nature is just to be these amazing mothers, but we forget to be amazing wives. So one of the things that I now try to put my energy to is, it's kind of like that. I don't believe in it. That work-life balance, you need parents marriage balance.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be times where your kids do need you more. When they're infants, they can't do anything. Right. Absolutely. But I think that's why it's very important to have that village, so that you could still maintain your marriage, because that's why so many people, when their kids are gone, they're like looking at each other like, what's happening? Who are you? And that's one of the things I didn't want us to go through was, hey, we got to figure this out. Our girls are getting older. I just don't want to be Kayla and Karina's parents.
Right.
So it's very important. So yes, absolutely. It changed. It changed for the better, but it also, it just brought another notch on your belt. Like, okay, God, so we are at this new season. It's just another season. Your kids aren't going to always be there. They're going to leave the nest eventually, but it's a season where you got to kind of figure out, okay, Wednesday is a priority. That's a date night. That's mommy and daddy's time. You have to make that time.
Yeah.
It's not we'll think about it. No, make the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our kids know it now. They're like, oh, so y'all going on date night?
Yeah.
Yes.
So with when that change came, as far as incorporating the kids into the marriage, how did y'all communicate that? Like, or was it a certain point that y'all just hit? like the obstacle that hit, or y'all, came into it and talked about it?
To be honest, what hit was when we were standing in Memphis airport and we were about to get on a plane to decide if we were going to come back married or divorced.
It got rough.
That was the wake up call,
yeah.
because we had taken on being parents and we totally disconnected as a couple.
Yeah.
We became roommates.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't healthy. Our kids, you think your kids don't notice the difference? They notice the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that time where we just had to get disconnected. So I guess the hit point was we just went. We took a trip to Mexico, just the two of us. We unplugged our phone. I think it was about a week.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had to refresh our marriage. We had to make our marriage a priority.
Yes.
Because if you do not stop, it will happen.
Yeah.
And it don't matter how great that person is, it will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, instead of, I know for me, when we were going through that time, I became more career driven. So the focus that I was more so putting towards my wife, being my wife, I instead of putting that into her and growing that relationship, I ended up putting it into my career because, we got kids now. So I feel like I got to be the provider. And so I took my eye off of it, and in doing so, it fractured this.
Yeah.
It fractured our union. It fractured our relationship. And like she said, we were standing in the airport and we made that declaration that say we coming back married or we coming back
Divorce.
And getting our lawyers, getting that paperwork.
I already had one. So yeah.
We came back together. This was a long time ago, kid. But
we came back together.
We came back stronger. No, and not to say that it just went away immediately.
No, it took time.
It definitely took time.
It took time.
But I think within that time, that's when God really gave it to us to have a vision about your marriage.
Yeah.
Get on the same page.
Yeah.
When you have your vision, you got to write it down.
Yeah.
You got to put it on paper.
Yeah.
Because if you just think it and you talk it out there, that's one thing. It just goes out into the air. He hears your prayers, but it's not until you write it down. Because it gives you, not only does it give you a reminder of every day what you're reaching for and what you're asking God for, it's also that confirmation that, okay, we're in this together.
Yeah.
And you get to mark it off. Hey, we've done that. God took care of that.
Yeah.
And it brings us closer and closer and closer together.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So definitely thank y'all for the transparency and the honesty, because we hear about the glitz and the glamour, but a lot of times we don't hear about that.
Oh yeah, we got down in the mud.
We got it.
We've been down in the mud.
I burned my t-shirt though. I burned it.
So how do y'all view, is it important or is it a necessity to still have me time in a marriage?
These rhetorical questions. Absolutely.
First of all, y'all don't understand that a lot of people are getting divorced, so they don't have these healthy tools that y'all got. So we looking for that knowledge.
Please get you some me time, because I feel like we said our house, a better me is a better we.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get that time alone, you have that individual time just to clear your head. Mm-hmm. Like, just think of how many roles you have. You have, like, I could just think of, like, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an employee, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend. Mm-hmm. When do I disconnect from all these titles?
Right.
To just get to me.
Yeah.
Because when I'm happy and when I'm taking care of myself, everybody else has this amazing part of me. But when I'm not, my household is not good. Mm-hmm. They know. They're like, all right, either mama hangry or she don't feel good. Which one is it? Mm-hmm. Even the dog take off running. Like, oh no, not today, lady. Like, he side-eyed me like, oh no, I can't fool with you today. But I think me time is very important, because again, that also gives us that alone time where sometimes God needs to bring us along. Like, we always want to feel like we got to talk to everybody and we got to call everybody. Sometimes you just need to sit in some silence.
Yeah.
and hear from him.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time when I'm sitting in silence, it ain't got nothing to do with my husband, even though I'm praying that God do something for him. It usually is a mirror, a reflection of who I am.
Yes.
And that usually comes with my me time. So they know, do not bother me when I'm getting my pedicure. Don't call my phone. You know, and his is, don't call me when the Eagles are playing.
So you better not. You better not. Their phone is on silent.
So this is just something that I thought about. We talk about me time, but we also talk about things that y'all do together. So how important is it important to do things that your mate like that you might not like?
Oh, he does it all the time.
All the time. All the time. You know how many Hallmark movies I've watched, man?
And they all the same. He was like, I already know what the storyline is gonna be. Why? And so now he actually asks questions. Why is it snowing, but they got on a jacket? Like,
you'll never see that.
He's wanting my Hallmark.
If it's cold outside, Ken, you gonna see the smoke coming out your mouth, right?
Facts,
snow all around them and ain't a lick of snow. Man, come on, man.
But I support his team. I actually watch sports now. I know a little bit more about sports. I contribute. I make snacks for his snack time. I try to allow him to have like his favorite things. So I think it's cool though, because then it's also things that we like that I thought I would never do. Like, I know most women probably be like, girl, don't be doing that. We cut the grass together.
Yes.
And it is such a bonding thing, because it's, you know, you usually have those stereotypes, like the man is on the outside, the lady is on the inside. These are your responsibilities. Like, no, I cut the grass with him. We get out there and we be killing it together. Like, we like, yeah, come on, cut this grass together. We get that glory. So instead of him going, look at my lawn, nah, baby, we did that.
Because you know, it's a results thing. You know, you know how good it feels when you work as a team and you see the results and you see the fruits of what you. But when you get out there and you slave in that doggone heat, in that Memphis heat.
Oh yeah.
And you come out and it does something to you, because there's something about that shower when you come in from cutting that grass and sweating, and then when you shower with your wife, that me time, that we time.
Don't nobody see, ladies. You better cut that grass. You get to take that shower after, and that water feel extra even better after that grass.
Boy. Everything feel better after this.
I don't like my phone up, man. I got to get back to my phone. I got to get back to my question, man. But
we right. This is the first and last time. Yes, like I said.
But I think it's very important, because as y'all know, when you do things that your mate likes and you might not have an interest in it, and you do it from a genuine place, not a grudge hardening place.
Yes, most definitely.
It allows your mate to have their guards down, because you're entering into their safe haven. You're entering into their safe space. So their vulnerability that you may not normally get in other environments, you're going to get it there because they ain't got their guards down.
Exactly. Right. Yep. You're exactly right.
That's a learned behavior that, you know, a lot of people don't know the importance of it, because they don't see the benefits of it.
Oh yeah.
So me time is important. It's necessary. Y'all looked at me and said, hey, are these rhetorical questions? My bad.
that is him.
I'm trying to help the people out of my bad. So before we let y'all go, I got about two more parts. But the first question is, can you give someone some advice who might be looking to get married?
She's really good at that. Go ahead, baby. You know you good. She got that good advice. Come on, baby.
I think the advice I would give anyone that is looking to get married, get therapy first. Because I feel like once you receive therapy for yourself, and just get it, like, don't just get it when things are bad. Just learn to communicate with someone, because that way you're learning to communicate with someone. And then a lot of time in therapy, they're going to give you tools on how to communicate. So when you get in a marriage, when you have two individuals that have taken time to learn who they are and to become better, when they do go to therapy as a couple, it's not looked at as, well, something's wrong with us or something must be bad. No, they're looking at it as, we got a tool that we can use. Right. And this tool gonna keep us going. Right. So like now, you know, my daughter goes to therapy. We go to therapy as a couple. We go to therapy individually. And a lot of time, again, it's not going when things are wrong. Like I sat there and said, everything is good. And there's just different tools that she may use, provide to me that I may can use. Hey, may not be in this season, but dang, now I do need that tool. So I think right now, anytime someone asks me, oh, I'm thinking about getting married, what should I do? Go to therapy. Figure out.
Yes.
Go to therapy.
And in that same vein, the advice I would give if somebody was looking to get married is love yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, have a sense of yourself to know what you're worth, not to settle, but in that same instance, in that same thought, be open-hearted, open-minded to be able to learn. Because when you're in a relationship, you're constantly learning.
Always.
I'm learning something about my wife each and every day. So if you don't have that mindset to, you want to learn or you feel like you've got it all together, it's not going to work, because you're putting a ceiling on your potential as a person, as a mate, in your relationship. You're capping your relationship off right then and there. So learn to love yourself and then be open to learning at your spouse and keep learning continually.
Yeah, always.
Y'all teaching again. I might have to edit that part out because I'm tired of saying that to y'all. I think y'all getting aggravated and agitated with me by saying it. But,
no, you good, man.
But the love yourself and the counseling aspect, I always say counseling should be like an oil change in your car.
Absolutely.
Yes. You know, it's necessary maintenance for that car to run the best way it needs to run. And then even with that counseling, you can learn healthy and practical ways on loving yourself. Yes. Because a lot of times we have a preconceived notion of what love is. And it's not until you meet somebody, I don't care if it's a friend, if it's through childhood, if it's through a business or from some outside entity, that you find out what love is really like.
Yeah.
And it blows your mind because it contradicts a lot of things that you were brought up thinking this is what love looks like. That's so that counseling aspect will allow you to receive it, but not just receive it, value it and appreciate it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It adds value.
Yes.
Facts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm before we get to the rapid fire is just I ask y'all 5 questions that y'all just tell me the first thing that come to y'all mind.
Okay.
All right.
So what I do want to say is that how long did it take y'all to get to the love language aspect? Because we talked about that earlier. As far as you said, fight fair and then fight with your love language. So when did y'all know the importance of knowing your mate's love language?
Actually, therapy. Once we started going to therapy, we heard the love language a lot. We had purchased the book, we had heard it in
took the
sermons,
test,
but I think until we actually looked at it as a tool, because I'm big on tools. So if, like my therapist, she always tell me, okay, Marquita, I'm not giving you these tools, so you go home and do them all tonight. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what gonna fix it. Well, let me plug all these in right now. It doesn't work that way. But I think again, it just took time. I probably would say in the last 5-6 years, our love language has been at the forefront of our marriage because we didn't realize how important a love language is, and it changes.
Yeah.
So you could be in one season where, like, I think I'm a little bit, I'm about to say this out loud. I think I'm a little bit more on physical touch than I'm in touch me right now. But I got boundaries. I'm used to acts of service, but I think my love language, physical touch, because I've been so in tune with his physical touch, seeing how it makes him feel, that it now makes me feel good.
Right.
So it took a while, but the sooner the better.
Yeah. I think it's just like any other learned trait. I mean, you don't learn how to ride a bike in one day. You don't learn how to swim in one day. We progressively, we knew what it was. We, like she said, we read the book, we did the survey, we even read what the survey meant. I got mine. I'm like, words of affirmation. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So we have it, but it wasn't until we started actually putting it to use, not knowing that we were using it, but we started putting it to use. And then when we went to therapy and she actually explained in I guess more in layman's terms, this is, you're doing this because that's your love language. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, I get it now. So it was more of an aha moment. And we progressed up to that, and we're still doing it today. We're still progressing and trying to get better at it. So it's, I wouldn't say that there's a time limit on it as to when there wasn't, a light bulb that went off. It just kind of progressively happened.
Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate y'all blessing us. So we got rapid fire. I'm going to start with Marcus.
Okay.
And then
I like it.
We're gonna play ping pong real quick. So we got 5 questions. First thing to come to mind when I ask these questions. First one, Marquita. That's to you, Marcus.
Oh, you're asking.
No. Huh? I'm saying the question is Marquita. What's the first thing that popped to mind when you would think of Marquita?
When you think of me?
Fine, beautiful, gorgeous, thick. What? How many answers do I gotta give? What? Oh, is there one word? One word.
Marquita, your turn. Marcus.
Right now, I'm thinking crazy.
Just pick one of them, Ken.
That would be accurate.
I'm just gonna say crazy.
So, Marcus, this is the question. One thing I'm working on to better my marriage.
Date nights. Date nights. Go ahead.
Awesome. Marquita, one thing I'm working on to make my marriage better.
Tone, the way I present things.
Same question to both of y'all, whoever want to. No, Marcus. One thing that we're working on to make our marriage better.
Date nights.
Marquita.
Shower time.
That physical touch, y'all. Shuck it up, quack.
Is that the end of the show? Is that?
Look,
yeah, we married. We are married.
But Marcus and Marquita, I appreciate y'all blessing us. For a quick moment, I do want to say that I believe in giving your flowers when people are able to smell them, when they're able to see them, when they're able to appreciate them. So when I met y'all back in, I want to say 2007, maybe 2006, 2007, that area.
Yeah, around that time,
Yeah, it was something about y'all that was just special to me. And y'all been trying to get rid of me since I've been knowing you. I said, y'all stuck with me. I'm here. So, but I appreciate your friendship. Like I told y'all earlier, I believe that God, when you know that God bless you with somebody, it don't matter. I say it like this. We always hear people say, God bless you. God put people in your life for a reason, for a season, for whatever. And I told y'all earlier, when you know that God has blessed you with something, I'm trying to find out how to keep y'all in every season because of how dope and how valuable y'all are. So I appreciate the friendship over the years, the words of wisdom, what y'all have poured into me. I pray that I've given y'all a little bit of it. So thank y'all.
It's been reciprocated. That's for sure. Like they were.
Man, no, not with the big words, man. I'm all talked out. So, but hey, I thank y'all, man. I hope I can have y'all on the podcast again. Y'all have been awesome and amazing. And we out.
All right.